men's pushback on independent women. Welcome to Change the Conversation with the Hopefulist. My name is Wendy McClure, and it's time we had a conversation about living in a patriarchy and how that affects our lives. Together, we can make a difference and change the conversation. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you, and I applaud you for taking the time to attempt to change the conversation around patriarchy. This is not easy work. We have a massive hill to climb, but you being here, you being willing to attempt to start the ascend to that hill is so important. It's the only way that we will ever see real change when it comes to patriarchy in this country. We may never see the change ourselves, but we can see the progress. But hopefully our daughters, our granddaughters, our great-granddaughters, they will see the change. They will benefit from the change. And we have to be the ones to start this revolution. So thank you for being here. I appreciate the fact that you're taking the time to open up your mind and delve into some topics that aren't always comfortable, right? It's not always comfortable. We have to learn to live a little in our uncomfort in order to make the changes that are necessary to make life better for all women. I'm going to start out with the quote of the day, talking about strong women. Here's to strong women. May we know them. May we be them. May we raise them. Yes. That's what we want, right? We want our women to be strong. We want our daughters to be strong. And one of the things that we're getting a lot of pushback now on is the fact that women are becoming stronger and stronger. They're becoming more independent. And this is in spite of the fact that we have been taught from the time that we are wee little ones that we are nothing without a man. I can speak for myself. There's nothing that I can overtly point out that was said to me aside from, the typical, well, when you grow up and get married, or when you grow up and have a husband, or when you get married and have kids, that those kind of things were said to me all the time. Like I assume they were to most girls. But then when I did get older and I didn't get married right away, because I didn't get married till I was 41. When I didn't get married right away, I felt very outcastish, if you know what I mean. I felt like a societal loser. I felt like somebody that, well, I guess I felt like an old maid, spinster. That's the word I'm looking for. I felt like a spinster, like no man, found me worth the time. I couldn't keep a man. I couldn't get a man. It was very taxing on my self-esteem and my self-worth. And it was just this expectation in society, from society, that I was nothing without a man. So what does that do? That makes us, when we have a man, center them into our lives. We center them in our lives. We make them the most important thing. Because of this thought process that, oh my gosh, I'm going to be a loser again if I get rid of the man, or I'm going to continue to be a loser if I still don't have a man. We are taught through movies and music and all kinds of things that the man's going to come in and save us, that they're going to complete our lives, that they're going to be our fairy tale and our savior, and that we're going to live happily ever after. I talked a little bit about this recently. The first year of my marriage was not a great one for me. I was pretty miserable, and I couldn't understand why, because since I didn't get married until 41, I had put so much stock into this marriage, every time I achieved something that I thought would bring me happiness and it didn't bring me the happiness that I sought, it was just one more line that, well, it must be marriage. That's why I'm not happy yet. It's got to be because I'm not married yet. Anything that I did in my career, the amount of money that I made, the friends that I made, the fact that I lived in a great place and, was active and did lots of things that I really enjoyed. None of that really mattered because I still didn't think that I was at a place where I was at my ultimate happiness merely for the fact that I wasn't in a relationship. And partly I will take the blame on that. Part of that was my own internal thoughts and feelings because of the societal expectations placed on women. So I may have read into it more than people were actually thinking, but we women, we do that. So, I remember a time in my, I guess it was my mid-30s, early 30s, when I was living at the shore. I had a big group of friends. I was going out constantly. I was trying new things, and I was having the time of my life. But yet everything just felt so incomplete. Like it was good, but it wasn't the best it could be because I wasn't in a relationship. And I really didn't even pay attention to try and focus on finding a relationship at that time. And I do know that was a great time in my life. But I think that I still just always had in the back of my mind that things were going to be better, that the best time of my life was going to be when I was married. So, we all go through our ups and downs in life. But, after I had moved away from the shore, after that period, I was there about 4 years, moved back to the Philly area where I'm originally from. And, it was a drastic change. I went from living at the shore where I was, could be outside and be active in a moment's notice to where, I lived in the city and I couldn't just hop on my bike and ride all around. And, it was a very busy area and that kind of thing. All of my friends were very far away from me. It was a very different lifestyle. It was a drastic change. And that's when I started putting more stock into when I get married, that's when everything's going to fall into place. When I get married, life will be perfect. And then when I did get married and everything was not perfect, it was a crash, man. It was a crash. And one of the things that, we really just don't talk about is how much of an adjustment marriage is. I mean, it was a huge adjustment for me just for the fact of I had lived by myself for over 11, 12 years. I lived by myself for 12 years. And then I turn around and somebody is there constantly. And I joke around about it. I think it hurts my husband's feelings a little bit. I keep telling him, I just trying to be funny. But there is truth in it. I get up, he's there. I turn around, he's there. He's there. He's there when I come home. That's marriage. That's how it works. You live with somebody, they're always there. That was a huge adjustment for me because, and just, simple, silly things like, I just told my husband recently, he's like, well, what's the difference if I was home or not? I said, well, because when you didn't live there, when I came home and I was walking up the steps, I would start singing to Tucker. I would start singing. He goes, well, why couldn't you do that with me there? I'm like, because I couldn't. I couldn't do that when you were there. Tucker is my dog, by the way. And I probably would now. But when your marriage is new and, you still, you don't know each other as well as you do, like 10 plus years in, like we have been married now. But the thing that I tried to point out to my husband is the fact that I was so unhappy that first year and a couple of years after that is no reflection on him. It was all me. It was all the expectations that I brought and laid on this marriage, basically making the marriage the end all be all to my happiness. Because as I said, anytime in the past that I didn't feel truly happy, I just told myself, well, it's because you're not married yet. And then when I did get married and it didn't bring me the true and magical and everlasting happiness that I was promised in all of those fairy tales, it was very disconcerting. So it took me a while to figure out that I am the one that has to make me happy, that it's all in my hands. It had always been in my hands. And I'm so sorry that it took me that long to figure it out, because my life could have played out so much differently had I known what I know now. But, that's called life. That's what we do. We make mistakes. We do course corrections. We keep on going. I'm very happy where I am. I'm not saying that I wish for a different life. I love my life. I love my husband. I love the little family that we have created here, our little niche here in the neighborhood. And I wouldn't trade it for anything, except maybe, a couple tens of millions of dollars. And then I could keep this house here and then go live at other places at other times of the year. That's the only thing that would make it better, honestly. So that's a little bit about my story. And that I was what I called a happiness delayer. I kept, saying that this one thing was going to make me happy. And when that didn't, then the other thing was going to make me happy. And when that didn't, it must be the marriage. So it's this theory that we are nothing without men, without a man in our life, that makes us feel like we aren't whole until that happens. And this is pushed on us in society so much, like I said, in movies and songs and TV shows, all of those rom-coms that, we're constantly seeing where the woman is unhappy, and then she meets someone and bam, super happy, happy ending. Yeah, it's in songs. One of my favorite songs is a song called The Midnight Train to Georgia. And it's just one of those, it's got a great beat and, the singing is just really well done. But one of the lines from that song is, I'd rather be in his world than be without him in mine. And again, you're young, you're impressionable, you're singing this song and it gives you the idea, well, yeah, okay, I'd rather be in my man's world than be alone without my man. That's sending a message. The man is the important part of the equation. So these are some of the things that, we've grown up being conditioned to be normal. And that's why I'm here to tell you that's not normal. It's not normal. We should be doing things for ourselves that bring us joy without a partner. And then when we find a partner that is hopefully compatible, we can bring them in to our world to add to our happiness, not to create our happiness. The only person who can create your happiness is you. And when you find what it is that you love, that you're passionate about, that you want to, that you think is worthy of your time, then you can bring somebody else in to share that with. But again, you can't make a person your whole world. And that is what we are raised to believe. And when things don't go exactly like we think they are going to go, we get crushed, like I did my first year of marriage. So there's been this renaissance of independent women, of women that are just saying no to dating, of women that are saying no to marriage, saying no to family and children and husbands. And women are more and more staying on their own because that is what they want to do. They are bucking the system and saying, I don't care if you look at me like I am some kind of old maid. I don't care if that's what you think because I'm happy. And all of the studies show that single women without children are by far the happiest demographic of women. And the happiest demographic of men are married men. So it also goes into this, this game that we have been convinced that women want to be married, so much so that we have to, we have to tie them down. We have to force them to marry us. We have to talk them into marrying us. It's this thing that men don't want it. The women are the ones that want it. And we got to catch our guy. When in reality, it's the men who benefit from being married so much more than women do. And that's why now these studies are showing that the happiest demographic is single women without kids, because they don't have to take care of everybody else in the house. They only have to take care of themselves, because that's what ends up happening. That's why men are happier married than not married. They have somebody to do the laundry, the cooking, the cleaning, the taking care of him, doing all the emotional labor of the relationship. I remember when a friend of mine had gotten divorced, he had told me that one of the things that he really missed about being married was vacation planning. He said, I liked the fact that I just had to know what dates I needed to ask off from work, and then I just showed up on vacation day and got us where we needed to go. I didn't have to make any of the plans. I didn't have to do any of the things that needed to be done. I just showed up. Yeah, that's what women do. We make the plans. Of course, this is not the case in every relationship. I know that every relationship is different. But that is why men are more happy married and why women are more happy single. Because even though women are planning the vacations, a lot of times they're planning a vacation to a place that they not necessarily would be their top pick. Maybe they want to go somewhere and the husband's like, no, I'm not really interested in going there. Okay, all right, well, the second best place I want to go then. So, you have these stopping blocks from doing the things that you really want to do, but you're still doing all the work for it, even though it's not the place that you really wanted to go. You see what I'm saying? So I wanted to get into a little bit about what's been going on in the current pop culture. There's been a couple of things that have been running around in the last few weeks. One of them I wanted to talk about was Keke Palmer. I don't really know a lot about Keke Palmer. She is an artist. She's a singer, from what I understand. But she had gone to an Usher concert, I believe. And she showed up on stage and she had a very revealing outfit on. And the man, her boyfriend that she has a baby with, tweeted out a picture of her on stage with Usher in the outfit that he apparently had a problem with. So why you would tweet that out if you don't like the fact that she's wearing it, why you would tweet it to bring more attention to it is a little bit of a head scratcher to me. But anyway, he tweets it and says, this outfit, though, you a mom. Okay. You a mom. What does that mean? Does that mean you can't wear what you want once you become a mother? Like, these are the boxes that women get put in. Once you become a mother, your life is not your own. I grew up thinking that. Absolutely, I thought that when I was growing up. Well, once you become a mother, your life is all about the kids. But it's not like that for the man, just for the mother, just for the woman. Why is that? Why is it when a woman has children, she is expected to give up any aspect of who she was before she had children? But men are not expected to change at all, except maybe become more responsible. It's so blatant, but yet still so hard to see because we've been trained to not question it. That's where it comes in to be the hardest thing to overcome. We have been trained to not question these things. And when you do start to question these things, you are radical, you're crazy, you're one of those things, you're just a man-hating feminist. No, I'm just talking about trying to make things better for women. I'm not trying to talk about bringing men down. I'm trying to point out what's actually happening. And what happens is when women become more independent, these are the things that happen. That outfit, though, this is a way of controlling, for one, but also shaming this woman for wearing something and telling her the reason is because she's a mother. This is just a way to control women, to bring her down a notch. Like, who does she think she is to show up at a concert looking like that when she's my woman? So it's okay to look good until you get her. Then you expect her to just, wear matronly clothes unless she's with you. Then she can look all hot and sexy so that all the other guys can be envious of you. That's how it works, right? But when she's not with you, then she has to, have a turtleneck on and can't show anything. And it seems a little crazy when I put it that way, right? So another incident that happened recently was Jonah Hill. You know the actor Jonah Hill from The Wolf of Wall Street, which is notable because I'm going to be talking about that movie again in just a little bit. Jonah Hill is in the news because his ex-girlfriend leaked some messages between the two of them, detailing alarming boundaries that Hill set out for their relationship. He explained his needs for romantic partnership didn't support her surfing with men, boundaryless, inappropriate friendships with men, posting pictures in a bathing suit, posting sexual pictures, modeling, or friendships with women who are in unstable places from your wild recent past, beyond maybe getting lunch or a coffee or something respectful. These were unverified. But she had, shown the clips back and forth between the two of them. Now, let me explain something. A boundary is something that you put on yourself. I'm not going to tolerate this. And once it goes beyond that, then I'm out. Boundaries aren't what you set out for other people. If you're telling someone that they have to act a certain way around you, unless it's, respectful or something like that, then you're trying to control the situation. And it's quite obvious that this was a very tall order. And the problem is that we've been told all of our lives that we need a man, that we have to have a man in order to feel complete, in order to feel like we are worthy in this world, in this society, in this country. And then when we get into that relationship, I don't know how long it was they were in this relationship when he came out with all of this. But now that we're invested, now that we're involved, we're being told, oh, by the way, I don't really want you to do that. That's kind of the thing that we're being told here is I don't really want you to be doing that. That little booty shake that you did that I really loved when we first get together. Yeah, you need to stop doing that now. Unless we're home alone, then that's different. Now, I read an article in Vogue magazine that says, by the logic of Hill's messages, the devices women use to catch a man, flesh, flirtation, frivolity, are to be stopped once the man is snared. When a woman retains pride in her appearance, when she keeps her confidence and maintains friendships on her own terms, she reinforces her autonomy, her capability apart from her partner, and above all, emphasizes her position as not his possession. This is what misogynists don't like, women who don't fall into submissive adjacent roles. These debates are never really about bathing suits or boundaries. The guise of caring for her well-being is erroneous. I only know how to say that word because of the movie Chicago. They are about a woman relinquishing who she is for her man, because that is what we expect of women once they get into a relationship. Well, you can't do that now. You're married. You can't do that now. You a mom. Come on. This is 2023. What are we talking about? I have more examples. Margot Robbie. She is starring in the upcoming movie, Barbie the Movie. And at first, I was like, okay, this is ridiculous. And then my husband asked me, he's like, would you want to go see that? And I was like, no, why? Would you? And he goes, yeah. I'm like, really? You want to go see the Barbie movie? Because it looks funny. I didn't really looked a lot into it, but from what I've heard, and I am going to go see it, from what I've heard, it's in Barbie land, the woman is top notch. The woman is president. The woman is the CEO. The woman does, all the things that in the outside world, the men do. And Ken is more like the woman because he's just kind of there. He's just kind of there for Barbie. Again, haven't seen the movie. This is not an official summation. This is something that I saw in a video, someone explaining that. And apparently Piers Morgan went off about this. The men don't have any place in this Barbie world. They're not even relevant. Yeah, that's exactly the point. It's exactly the point is they're flipping the script and they're making the women be the ones to do everything, to be the important ones, the ones with the power, and the men to just be, the little side role, the little side hustle, the little sidebar. They're flipping the script. So now with that take on it, I am interested in seeing it. But I brought up Margot Robbie because she's been in the news lately because somebody posted a picture of her and they called her mid, which apparently just means she's like mid-level. They posted a picture of her without makeup, which to me, she still looked incredible. But yeah, people look a lot different without their Hollywood makeup than they do with their Hollywood makeup. It's not even just regular makeup. It's Hollywood makeup. It's so much different than regular makeup. We know that as women. And now there's this thing going around about how she's just, mediocre. She's not even that, attractive. She doesn't have it going on. And the thing that's interesting is the men loved Margot Robbie when she was in The Wolf of Wall Street as just this, woman clinging to, men's power and, being the side issue, being on the side. But when she becomes, and this happens to most women in the movie industry when it comes to public perception, men are okay with them as long as they are being the subservient woman. But once they start to become independent, once they play roles of women who are independent and call their own shots, they feel the need to take them down a peg by calling them mid. Let that sink in for a minute. They try to take her down a peg by calling her mid because she has the audacity to be independent and to call her own shots. I have another situation I wanted to point out. There was a movie called All the Money in the World. It was a movie that was shot with Kevin Spacey, and this was around the time of the Me Too movement, and they had to recast him. They recast him with Christopher Plummer. So Michelle Williams was in this movie. Mark Wahlberg was in this movie. Now, Michelle Williams, being the subservient, kind, I'll do anything I need to help kind of woman that we're all used to in this environment and society, said, oh, you know what? No, you don't have to pay me. No. I'll whatever it takes to help the movie. That's what I'm going to do, because that's what women do. And that's what women are expected to do. You know what Mark Wahlberg said when they said, we need you to come in to reshoot some scenes because of this, changing main character? He said, okay, it's going to cost you $1.5 million. $1.5 million. So Michelle Williams offered to do it for free. They can't allow her to do it for free, so they gave her scale, which was less than $1,000 at the time. I think scale is a little over $1,000 now. This was back in like 2018, 2019. It was less than $1,000. So Michelle Williams got paid less than $1,000 for her retakes, while Mark Wahlberg got $1.5 million. Do you think anybody called Mark Wahlberg a money-grubbing, selfish, any number of things? But when Scarlett Johansson actually, she sued Disney a couple of years ago during the pandemic because her movie Black Widow was supposed to be released in theaters. And since the pandemic happened, they couldn't release it in theaters. So they released it on streaming. Well, part of the way that she was paid was by how many tickets were sold, not how many times it was streamed via download. So she was going to miss out on a whole bunch of money because they had to release it via streaming rather than in the theaters. So Scarlett Johansson was like, okay, I've got a problem with this because I'm supposed to be making a whole bunch more money. And now that things are changed, you're still going to make your money, but somehow I'm not getting paid. And how do you think Scarlett Johansson was thought of? Yeah. As a selfish, money-grubbing female that is all about money and power. Yep. That's what they do. That's what they do to women who stand up for themselves and want to make sure that they get treated fairly, just as fairly as the guys. I want to point out once again, Michelle Williams made less than $1,000, while Mark Wahlberg demanded $1.5 million, and he got it. He got it. Why couldn't they have? I understand it's a business. But why do you take advantage of women's kindness? We're brought up, taught we have to be kind, we be respectful, we do what we can to help. And what does that do? It makes us miss out on $1.5 million. So, what do we do now? Well, you keep doing you. You keep being you. You keep being the person that you know you are deep down inside, and you live your life authentically. Because if you do indeed do something that turns someone off, whether it be a friend or a partner or what have you, and they leave, then you are left this shell of a person, the person you were trying to be for that other person. And then you're lost. But if you are already the real you, you are independent, you are strong, you make demands for how you want your life to go. If people have a problem with that, then they can go. And I have said this before, and I will say this again. There is nothing like the feeling of knowing yourself, of truly being okay with who you are, what you do, what you stand for, and truly liking and loving yourself. Because once you get to that point, you know you will always be okay. You will always be okay. Do I want people to leave my life? No, I do not. But when people do, and they walk away from me, I am okay with that. Because I am who I am, and if you don't like that, it is your choice to walk away. It's really just as simple as that. And once you learn to nurture yourself, to nurture your passion, to be strong, speak out, say what you feel, and stand up for yourself, you will feel that way too. I guarantee it. I guarantee it. So, Start calling men out on this crap. Start standing up for yourself. Start being yourself. And as women, we can all band together. United we stand. Women united. That's what we want to be. Make things better for those who come after us. I thank you so much for joining me today. Please check out my website at hopefulist.com. If you haven't already, please leave me a review and make sure to hit that follow or subscribe button. It is completely free. And I hope that you have a fantastic week. Now, go on out there and be badass. I'm here cheering you on. Thank you for joining me in this conversation. Together, we are better. Please visit my website at hopefulist.com and remember to hit that subscribe or follow button.